is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
And good evening, everyone. We're coming to you live from the practice facility at Midwest City High School over at Rose Field, where the Bombers just got through with practice. We're here in the coaches' room, and we get to bring you another installment of the Midwest City Coaches Show. My name's Jordan Ray. Happy to be joined, as always, by Midwest City head coach Jaquez Washington. First, of course, we want to thank our sponsors, Toonie Buys Houses. We buy and renovate homes. We also lease and own or finance homes throughout the state of Oklahoma. Call them at 405-931-3046. And Intertwined Hearts Ministries, biblical-based counseling, mentoring, and spiritual direction for couples and adult individuals. Scott and Alicia Young both graduated from Midwest City, and their kids graduated as well from Midwest City. Their address is 9107 East Reno Avenue in Midwest City. Also, of course, Channing Chamberlain from Toonie Buys Houses, a Midwest City graduate. Let's talk Midwest City football with Coach Washington. Okay, Coach, now, you never obviously enjoy losing a game the way you did to Del City, but was this different anyway? Did it feel different than maybe your two other losses?
It did feel different. Obviously the tackling was not great. And the turnovers, leading the touchdowns was not good. But, the biggest thing that we need to fix is what our effort looked like on tape and then our toughness on, just some things that you just don't like to look at on tape and, fixing it this week.
So, and you've seen so many games as a coach, you think about the team's psychology a lot, I'm sure. Was it how big of a blow was it from a morale standpoint when you have a very good first defensive possession and your offensive possession, or your second offensive possession is really good too, up to the point where you get into the red zone, you're about to score, take the first lead that Midwest City's had on Del City since 2020, and then the interception. And I want to also say with that interception, I was very impressed with Lincoln King's saving the touchdown on that play he made. Very athletic tackle he made. You don't see very many quarterbacks do that. But he did throw a pick. And unfortunately, there was a touchdown the very next play. That wasn't on Lincoln, but, Rickland Holmes scored from about 50 yards the very next play. So that's a sequence of two plays that, I don't know. Did you see that your players may have been really deflated by that, and that may have had an effect throughout the game?
Yes, and that's a 14-point turnaround. You're going in the red zone, second down, expect to get some points out of the possession, out of a long drive, and then we turn the ball over, and then the next play we miss 3 tackles to allow Rickland Holmes, like I said, a good running back, but, we had opportunities to get him down and to allow him to score. So that's a 14-point turnaround, and for a team, who's inexperienced, who's, rides on momentum, I think that it was a huge play of the game, probably the most important play of the game, because, I just think with the outcome of how it looked on the board and how the team operated, if you go punch that in, there's no telling, just the mindset of the team going in to the rest of the game. So with that being said, we got to learn how to say so what, now what. I mean, bad 2 plays, back-to-back plays, and then, it's still, 4 minutes left in the first quarter and an opportunity to go win the football game. And that's where we got to get to mentally. It's just so what, now what, what I got to do now, what's the next opportunity I get to make a play and go make those plays.
Let's talk about something positive during the game, at least from my point of view, and that is I think your pass defense was really good. When you got stops, it was because Del City was in a situation where they had to throw the ball. Of course, they don't have their best quarterback out there, but still, you guys took advantage of that. I thought you had good pass rush at times. You got an interception. The one pass they completed was a jump ball. It was a bit of a height disadvantage to you on that single play. The one pass they completed downfield, I should say. I know that's your background, right? I believe you played defensive back at high school and college. So, do you like what you're seeing as far as your pass defense goes?
Yeah, we just got to continue. We're doing a good job in our underneath zones. We got to continue to just get the ball down. Where people have been hurting us is throwing tunnel screens out there, bubbles, and, us missing tackles on the perimeter. So we got to be aggressive on going and attacking and getting the ball down on the ground to eliminate those things, to make people force the ball down the field on us. We do a solid job, a good enough job, and that's a high low percentage pass completion when you're trying to push the ball down 20 yards down the field. So I want to see us force more of those throws as far as the secondary and starting to tighten up on the short stuff.
Now, run defense, you've already addressed – you may have already answered my question, but the question I was planning to ask is what's the biggest focus there out of these three things, or maybe something else that I'm not thinking of, and that is sound assignment football. Is it being able to shed blocks or tackling? I know that they're all important, but which one would you emphasize the most to your team right now?
We got to tackle. We got to get the ball on the ground. And we will get the ball on the ground.
Yeah, and you may not see two stronger running backs than what you saw against Del City, so you got the test there. Now on offense, I feel like part of the problem that the defense has, because they've had some highlights, they've had some good plays, is that the offense has put them in some tough positions. And the two that come to mind is, well, one is, this goes with special teams, is field position. They start with, Del City's had really good field position for the most part throughout the game. And that's on special teams too, but that's also on offense to some extent. And then the other one is, and I know you have a lot of two-way starters, but, the offense doesn't always have the ball very long, and it does give some of your defensive players that don't play on offense not much of a chance to rest. Which one of those do you think is a bigger deal right now?
I think we just got to go with it doesn't matter. It don't matter. If they get the ball at the 5, we need to get a stop. If they get the ball at the 1 yard line, we need to get a stop. If they get the ball in the 40-all game, we need to get off the field. And how about we create some of those opportunities to get our offense the ball on the plus side of the field, or get off the field on third down by getting the tackle down, getting the turnover, sacking the quarterback to give them another opportunity to get a chance to score. And so, that's the mindset with that. We got to start winning the field position battle. We got to start doing those things. But defensively, it don't matter. Get off the field.
Okay. Offensively, what did you see against maybe one of the more athletic defenses you will face this year?
I think we held up well in protection. We did give them time to throw for the most part all game. We had some plays out there that were left out there. The screen to Ryan Holloway, the third play of the game, or the second drive of the game where we got tackled. We had a bunch of guys, in our color uniforms, and that one guy made the play. Kudos to him. Tip your cap to him. But we got some movement on the outside zone stuff, and there were some plays to be had, versus a really aggressive defense, sending guys off the edge and how much they blitzed. And you want to see our younger receivers continue to develop and take advantage of those one-on-one opportunities in space and win. So like I said, this is just a learning curve as we're growing as a team that's gaining football experience on how to operate in the game.
And as far as quarterback play goes, both quarterbacks threw an interception, and that accounts for 3 of Del City's touchdowns, so it definitely has an impact on the score. Is it part of that because the secondary for Del City? Were they just not seeing things the way they need to see them? Or what would you attribute that to?
Some of that is just coaching our guys out of plays, and just kind of coaching them and training them through, you don't have to you can throw the ball away. You don't have to make the glorified throw. You can dump it down and check down and see if we can get our athletes the ball and see if they can make a play after they get their hands on it. So, it's a couple things. And like I said, it's just learning. Lincoln, it's his 4th or 5th game playing quarterback. Valor is getting adjusted to the speed of the game. And so as the season grows, you'll see those guys continue to grow.
when it comes to Del City, do you find that they are kind of a model of where you want to be, or do you even think about it like that as just this is just kind of their glory years that they're going through right now? It's usually not like this when it comes to the tradition of this rivalry.
I think we got to be Midwest City. We got to continue to put one day in front of the other. I can't think about the long-term future of the program. I got to figure out how we're going to get our guys to the best they can be this Friday versus Southeast, and just getting a mentality of just winning, a winning culture.
All right, well, we'll talk more about Southeast and a couple other questions for Coach, so stick around for that. You're watching the Midwest City Coaches Show right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
At Tommy's Express Car Wash, we know how to love your ride. Try the Works Wash with our signature 14-step cleaning process, engineered to shine and shield your car from the elements. From breaking down dirt and bugs with our Detox Pre-Wash to restoring your vehicle's finish with our ceramic body wax. Give your car the best with our Top Wash. Then complete the clean with free vacuums and mat washers. Download our app and get your first 30 days of the works for free. Tommy's Express. Love your ride.
If you've lived in Oklahoma long enough, you'll know that we get extreme weather. With that extreme weather comes hail damage to your roof and an insurance claim. When that happens, there's not a better company to deal with on your insurance claim than Cantrell Roofing and Construction. Since 1987, Cantrell Roofing and Construction has proven to be the best in the business, and always remember, got hail? Call Cantrell. Call them at 405-642-8558.
Last year, 35% of all auto accident deaths were rollovers. If you've been in a wreck, don't hesitate to call. This is why you need our number in your phone. This could be you!
When you call our firm, you're going to get one of us, not some paralegal or office manager.
Most lawyers, they take more money than their clients. Most of the time, a lot more.
We don't, and we guarantee it.
All right, welcome back to the Midwest City Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network, brought to you, of course, by Toonie Buys Houses and Intertwined Hearts Ministries. Coach, before we talk about Southeast, and I know that's your focus, as you just said, I am curious about something, though. I heard that they were going to announce football districts for next year in January, and the reason I'm bringing this up is I know that some places they have to be kind of aggressive when it comes to scheduling non-district teams. Have you thought a little bit about that? Have you sent out feelers to maybe a possible non-district opponent for next year or two?
Not necessarily. I hadn't spent much time thinking about it. Trying to get through 2025. All our focus right now is on this team and, trying to get them to the best product that we can put out there on the field, a winning product. And so I haven't really thought about, the redistricting or, the non-district games or who we're going to play. So, something that probably start to look at, I think we start talking about November, December on actually ironing that stuff out. But, I want to get to a point where, I can focus some time on that and stuff like that. But right now it's game planning and
Sure.
organizing practice and trying to get ready.
And I know you got a lot of connections, so I can't wait to see who you come up with. Anyway, so one other thing before we get to the game, how has it been as an athletic director and a football coach? Is it been what you thought it was? Has it been challenging, rewarding? How would you describe it?
It's been challenging and rewarding, just trying to kind of figure out and navigate through, all the different things that go into it. We need to get some turf and stuff out there on the baseball field. Cross country is doing a heck of a job. 3 people placed at a couple events. Volleyball is doing good, developing just a young team in volleyball right now. They're out at Man, I don't think they're – they took a
Altus
today. Softball's out of Reno, and they've been doing a heck of a job, beating Carl Albert next week. Got one of the best pitchers in the country. So just kind of just being aware of all the other sports. Wrestling numbers are up. Coach Combs has come back to Midwest City. And, he's got about 50 kids out there this offseason. And so just kind of, just dabbling in all the sports and being aware of all that's going on. And we got some great head coaches in all the other sports that, do what they need to do with the resources they have.
All right, and then let's look ahead to, by the way, real quick, Thursday we will have Midwest City and Carl Albert Softball Part 2 over at Carl Albert on the Oklahoma Sports Network, so we're looking forward to that. That's a massive game. Both teams have big games tonight to shape up how big of a game that will be this coming Thursday. And let's talk about Friday. It's homecoming at Midwest City High School, and the Bombers will begin district play against the Southeast Spartans. Southeast is 4-0, Coach, so, they're not a name usually that goes up there with a bigger name like maybe even Newcastle or Lawton MacArthur as far as the 5A powers. On the Newcastle's brand new to 5A, but you get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Bishop McGuinness for sure. Those are the big games on the schedule. But they are 4-0. They have an experienced team. And what have you thought as you've started to do some more game planning for them?
They're playing good football right now. Any team that's won 4 games in a row, you got a winning spirit, a winning attitude. Doesn't matter the opponent. They're creating some havoc, sending some pressure. Different unique fronts. Offensively, the quarterback can move around and get out of the pocket and make plays on the run. They got a couple running backs. You got to tackle and get on the ground. Got a kid who runs well behind his pads. Got a couple receivers on the perimeter. So, they're a great matchup. We just got to do what we have to do, do what we are coach should do, and go out there and execute. And, the unique part is Southeast, they believe, they can win this game as they should. And so we got to go out there and play with our best foot forward and, execute and put good stuff on tape if we want to come out of here with a win. And
because of, how things went against Del City, the last game you play will always impact, I feel like, to some extent what practices look like. So, we're a couple practices in. Have you done things a little differently this week around preparing for district play?
Yes, we've ramped up the intensity and the physicality. Just a couple things I don't want to see anymore on film, and we're going to make sure we don't see it on film anymore.
Okay, and I'm curious, what is now you're as adjusting to life as a head football coach? What's the weekend like for you? Do you have much time to relax, watch Iowa State play on Saturdays, or you start watching film right away?
We could tinker with it a little bit, but Saturdays usually like to let my players just have a day off, be a kid, get out, don't come up to the facility, spend that time with your family. If you want to go watch football, get away from football. Let's not even think about football. A lot of them are looking for the last night's game and trying to get ahead and start learning what they put out on film and about the next opponent. And then we kind of come up on Sundays as a team and lift and start diving in, put the game to bed and dive into our next opponent. But try to reserve that Saturday for family, for this coaching staff, working hard throughout the week, and the kids working hard to have a day off and just relax and just get away from the sport. I break down the last night's game and go ahead and put that to bed and grade it and make sure everything I need is in there. But other than that, I mean, the weekend is it's still a work weekend as far as your mind is still going. But as far as up here on a Saturday, I don't want to chase kids. They want to go to a football game, a local game or something. We don't need to take up all 7 of their days.
Right. And you've been a part of a lot of homecomings. I mean, is there anything different about homecomings as far as making sure your players are ready to go? For example, here, they won't have a 6th and 7th hour. They'll have the parade, So, I mean, I think it's a good thing, obviously. There's a lot of celebrating to do, but is there any difference for you guys when it comes to game day?
Just they're 14, 18-year-old kids. They're going to enjoy homecoming and the parade and the parade, the assembly and all those things. So just trying to get them to understand, like, the reason there is a homecoming is there's a football game at the end of the day that we got to go play in. And, Midwest City is unique. Got a parade on the day of the game, got a pep assembly the day of the game. And so it's a lot of things that could be, if you allow it, distractions. And so we just got to eliminate those distractions.
Well, I can't wait to see what the football float looks like this year. And we'll have to put pictures on the broadcast and all that. But, all right, Coach, well, thank you again. We love doing this. And
yes, sir.
Looking forward to bringing you. This is like the second phase of the season, folks, because this is the game, along with every game after that will determine, does Midwest City make the playoffs? And if they do, what's their seed? Do they get to host? They have to win a game like this and keep going forward. So the Southeast game is big, and next week we'll start to display, once they're finally in, district standings. Because, again, it starts with this game. So either Midwest City will be 1-0 or 0-1, and they'll go from there. All right, but we look forward to that game. Tom Carpenter and I will be again on the call. And after that, come Tuesday, we'll have another Coach's Edition reacting to the Southeast game and then looking ahead to Newcastle. So thanks again for watching the Midwest City Coaches Show on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Thanks for watching this presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.